I almost needed an extra vacation day from all that soccer and celebrating 250. But Tyler, all that soccer. What a weekend, I think. I learned. I was putting tweets out last night to learn. That's what Twitter's for, right?
Yep.
I was trying to figure out. Maybe I truly don't know. I mean, I watch Premier League. I get into it a little bit, but I really don't know who the best player in the world is. I know Mbappe looks great.
Sure.
Messi's 38 and doing all kinds of crazy things and looks great. And then there's the Viking, the Norwegian
Earl
Thor.
Haaland.
Yeah, Erling Haaland. And I think he's the best player in the world. But I don't know. I'm truthfully not qualified to say. So I just put it out on Twitter. Got a bunch of answers. Oh,
Harry Kane not doing too bad himself.
Harry Kane, yeah, he got mentioned in there. But man, oh man, I gotta admit, all right. Remember when we left? I was like, I don't know why I can't get into this World Cup. All right, fast forward to 12:01 on a Monday, July the 6th. I'm in. I'm all in. I'm invested.
I mean, I don't think FIFA, Fox, all the people involved in this could have asked for a better World Cup so far in terms of competitive games, in terms of the U.S. doing what they're doing right now. Obviously, round of 16 game tonight, taking on Belgium. We'll obviously get into some of the theatrics of that coming up in a minute.
Yeah.
But also, again, you have the biggest names in the world competing for the Golden Boot, right? In terms of who scores the most goals over the course of the World Cup. And it's Mbappe, and it's Harry Kane, it's Haaland, it's Messi. Like, it's a who's who. They're going out there and scoring these goals every game when those teams play.
Well, and on top of that, just like yesterday, you have actually, I think, like some retirements that are they're retirements because they were retiring, but they're forced because you lost a game and you're going to be too old to play, like Neymar. I have no clue. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm very familiar with the 2022 or 2018 or 2014, or you can go back in time World Cup. You know, like if you wanted to discuss, well, that was one of the best NBA finals I've ever seen. Okay, I can hold my own there. You want to discuss, that World Series was something else. So that NCAA basketball tournament, all right, I can play along with that and go, well, I remember back in 2012 this happened, or 2004 this happened. I have no clue on the World Cup. Like, it's there, and then within 2 months, when football starts, after the World Cup's over, the World Cup's over, I'll forget exactly who won and what happened and all so forth and so on. But you're right. It does feel like this is one of the best World Cups they've ever had, just from listening to the pundits and the people who cover it and everything with matches, as you said, like Cape Verde and Argentina.
Yeah, no doubt. And I find myself getting into this one more than I ever have before as well. And I think America doing what they're doing certainly helps out. Now, if they were to lose tonight, which hopefully not, then I wonder how that will kind of affect us a little bit. But knowing that, hey, America might actually make something out of this. Now, do we expect to win the whole thing? No, not necessarily. But, being able to advance, if they win tonight into the round of 8, which is the first they've ever gone before, first time since 2002, would be a pretty significant accomplishment. And, it's been a fun thing to watch. Again, a lot of drama as well that, again, we'll get into coming up in a moment. But, yeah, I've enjoyed it. And, again, I'm not a soccer expert by any means, but when you have the ability to, latch your patriotism onto a team, that helps out a lot, much like the Olympics.
I think that's a great point. What I do think is happening is we're experiencing other people's cultures and what they do, and the perfect example is the Norwegians and their celebratory row. England last night went on an Oasis concert after their victory in Mexico. Every time they cut back to England celebrate, they were playing some Oasis song. And so I think we're learning about it. So what I do think actually may happen, and the fact that, as you just pointed out, the stars are shining. Even Cristiano Ronaldo, who plays right after our show today, they take on Portugal. That one should be he's Portugal. They take on Spain. That one should be a really good one. Like he doesn't have. I think he's only got 2 or 3 goals, but he's played really well and has been entertaining to watch. Like, it's all come together for, I think, us Americans.
Yep.
To continue what the people that are casuals, if you will, because I know there's a lot of you out there who are fully invested in Premier League and fully invested in soccer. But for the casuals to kind of stay tuned in, because now maybe you've latched on to Norway, and again, their row celebration, or maybe, yeah, you're like, oh, that Harry Kane, I kind of like that guy. I'm going to latch on to England, or again, maybe you're just like, well, I've heard of Messi, and boy, I just want to see him play because he is kind of magical. So I'm latching on to Argentina. I think there's a lot of teams like that,
Sure,
that people are just able to latch on to, and now be a, if you will, for about a week. And now what's today? Today's the 6th.
Yep.
So now less than 2 weeks, a secondary country until that you're pulling for until the 9th.
Yeah, it also helps. All these games are literally happening almost all on American soil. Mexico and Canada and all that kind of stuff as well. But they're happening at reasonable times where we can all watch. Again, the games are starting 2, 3 in the afternoon. Yep. The headliners are at night, like America playing tonight at 8 o'clock, which is Monday Night Football, if you want to be specific about it. But in years past, we've had World Cups in other places around the world. The timing doesn't always work out to where, all right, maybe you'll watch America, but you're not sitting down and watching these other games because they're happening at weird times during the day. I think it's kind of a perfect storm. And again, Fox has got to be loving the ratings they're pulling in for all these games, especially the American ones. And yeah, it's been fun so far, and hopefully America keeps going after tonight.
Yeah, I would, like you said, I would soon tonight. We'll get into it a little bit. I got no idea. I mean, aside from being completely biased, red, white, and blue, all American, I got no idea on the kid's name who I practiced all day yesterday, and first chance to say it, couldn't even get it out. Go ahead with it. I know you're good at this.
Flo Balogun.
Flo Balogun.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's an easy way. By the way, real quick, I did my American duty over the weekend. We went to IHOP, my wife's favorite restaurant, for her birthday. And I get the chicken and waffles sometimes. I know it's IHOP, I should get pancakes, which I did this time because you know why? The waffles were Belgian. And I was not going to eat a Belgian waffle days before America played Belgium in the World Cup. I did my duty by not eating a Belgian waffle. I ate the pancakes instead. Go USA.
Okay. That good boy. Good guy. That's the way you're supposed to do it. And, all right. And it was delicious?
It was fantastic. The pancakes are phenomenal. It's what they're known for. And maybe the next time I go, Belgian waffle, but not this time.
Okay.
Not while we have that matchup coming up.
Very good. Very good. So, all right. Excellent work there by you. Yeah. This is interesting. I don't know. I'm sure something like Switzerland or the Norway seems up there. I guess I don't know. I don't know if there's another country that. I know we have some soccer history with Belgium.
Yeah,
but do we have major history? I feel like out of pure randomness, this weekend I was watching a World War II documentary, and they were talking about us going in, liberating Belgium, and getting into the fight in the Ardennes and all that happened. And I was like, huh, interesting that is on. And I'm sitting here prepping for USA Belgium, but we don't have a history with, do we? We don't.
Not that I know of. In terms of like outside of soccer,
yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, again, everybody was involved in the World Wars, but no, I can't think of anything that stands out too much. There's probably some history teacher listening right now that's screaming at the radio, "How do we not know about that one thing?" But nothing comes to mind.
Yeah, to go back to you, I don't, and I'm a history major, but I think I don't think we liberated Belgium after Germany went in there and took it over. So I think aside from a 5-2 or 5-1 loss back in March, I think it was 5-2 that Belgium ran over us in a friendly, if you will.
Wasn't very friendly.
Yeah, it wasn't very friendly. I don't think we have a lot of reasons to be upset with them. Now, they have gotten upset with us, even though we've done about the most American thing ever, right?
Yes, we have.
We have whined and complained, which rightfully so. Rightfully a bad call. But we've whined and complained, and we got our guy back tonight. And it does feel like, at least watching yesterday, that the whole world has turned on us, and now calling us names and calling us cheaters and so forth and so on. And I'm like, it shouldn't have been a foul. Like,
yeah,
this is the correct decision. I thought we were all in agreement it was the correct decision, and now you guys are hating on us.
It's one of those things that, like, the call was bad because, again, he didn't mean to step on the guy's ankle. Was it, like, nasty looking? Yes, but it was just something that happened in the course of play, so there shouldn't have been a red card to begin with. But, like, FIFA precedent typically says these things don't happen. I know, like, they deferred one for Ronaldo back in November in a qualifying game. A couple of, I think, Argentina players also got a deferral, but typically this doesn't happen in the actual World Cup, which I think is what upsets a lot of people, and I can understand. And in fact, I want to play a clip here because the Belgian head coach, Rudy Garcia, this is through a translator, who did actually have a really funny line when asked about this yesterday after the news came out that Balogun's red card suspension had been overturned.
All right.
As I said to your colleague during the individual interviews, I didn't know that at FIFA World Cup, the 5th of July is now 1st April, and that it's April's Fool's then. It is new news to me. Going back to the Belgian statement that they have released, a lot of our thoughts and opinions are in the release. We're not defending the national team or the federation. We are defending football, whether it's ethic or integrity.
I'll just say, I didn't realize the 5th of July was April Fool's Day is actually pretty funny and a thing to say in the results of this.
I got to admit, for those of y'all that think had overlapping sounds, no, that was obviously the coach talking with a translator talking.
Yes.
Like, for any of y'all that are like, oh, that audio was bad, they had overlapping sounds. No, that was
She was translating what he was saying.
Yeah, as it was going on. But with all that being said, yeah, how about that? Now they got to deal with that. April Fool's Day in Belgium today, and it would be sweet to pull it off. I don't know what it means. This is the other part about it. Like, I don't see us winning the World Cup.
Probably not.
Okay? I don't see us winning the World Cup. And so it's cool if we win. Like, and I know it's something we've never done before in its history. Aside from it just keeping us fully engaged, Tyler, I don't know what it means.
I think it would be a way to laugh at the rest of the world a little bit. Like, this is like our 4th most important sport, and we beat all of you at it. Like, it'd be good for bragging rights. I think it's something that, like, the celebration would obviously be big, but I think it would pale in comparison to what other countries obviously do because this is obviously their sport. I think it would annoy the rest of the world more than anything else because this is something that we would never shut up about, rightfully so, because we're never the country that's supposed to win this thing.
Yeah. Again, maybe. I don't know. I'm not laughing, but I'm laughing because, yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. Because, again, I don't see us getting past, like, the matches I watched yesterday, I don't see us getting past England or Norway or Argentina, some of these other teams, Spain or Portugal. I forget who we would play. Would we play Spain or Portugal? Is that right?
Hold on. I had the bracket up a little while ago. Let me pull it back up.
Yeah, I think that's
yeah, Portugal and Spain would be the matchup if they win tonight.
Yeah, so I don't see us getting past either one of those. But anyway, we'll see. We'll talk more about this. We'll talk about the negated red card. I'm more interested in just how does that relate back to sports in this country? Things like that we have seen calls overturned that are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm trying because I'll admit, and y'all think about this and get back to me on it. How can we relate this back to an American sport, a truly American sport, football, baseball, basketball, where you saw something like this happen and it shocked all of it? I mean, I'm asking, I'm not joking, is it the equivalent of the NCAA saying, yes, Brendan Sorsby, well, not the NCAA, but the judge in Texas saying, yes, Brendan Sorsby, you can play? Like overturning his I don't know.
Well,
I'm trying to.
I would say no real quick because this did come from the sanctioning body. Like FIFA is the one, and yes, I know President Trump did call to kind of push him in that direction, but like they did ultimately say, hey, we're going to overturn our ruling here. It wasn't like a third party judge that was being favorable to America. This was FIFA that did this.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm trying to figure it out.
I have an instance I can think of that might be similar that we can talk about.
All right, we'll do that. Also coming up in the show, we'll get to some recruiting, both football and baseball. That's what we'll talk about this hour as football goes on a bender over the last few days. We were here for some of it. And baseball lands the number one player, according to most, in the transfer portal. We'll talk about that. And then also, well, it's all over. The Kelceys, they're now officially the Kelceys. And Adam Sandler officiated the wedding. It's a straight out of Disney. I don't know what to tell you. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this afternoon. You're listening to the Halftime Show.
Ty right here for our friends over at Canty Foundation Specialists. Tell you about it all the time, but I'll remind you once again, you always need to be on the lookout. Things around your home that are a little bit off. Things like cracks in your exterior brick, cracks in and above windows and door frames, doors or windows that might be sticking, uneven or bouncy floors, or cracks over your garage door. If you notice any of these problems with your home, you could have serious foundation issues. And that's where our friends over at Canty Foundation Specialist come in. Go online to cantycanfixit.com and schedule your appointment, and they will send a professional out to your home to evaluate those foundation issues and get them fixed so you and your family can live worry-free going forward. Do not hesitate. Those issues will only continue to get worse. cantycanfixit.com. Let our friends at Canty Foundation Specialist help you out with your home's foundation needs.
about said 7:20. 12:20 on your Monday, the very first Monday of July, Tyler. I was thinking about it last night, watching England and Mexico play. This is kind of that true 2-week dead stretch, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got through the fourth.
Sure.
All your celebrating's out of the way. Your American festivities, your patriotism, all right, all gone. And now we're truly in that lull. If you're a Braves fan, you're like, please break out of the lull, guys. Stop giving up 5 runs in the ninth. Even if you score 6th, the math doesn't equal winning sometimes. But, now you kind of start to wait because SEC Media Day is 2 weeks from today. Starts 2 weeks from today.
Yes.
2 weeks from today. We'll be in Tampa. 4 weeks from today, we don't know the exact start date just yet, but 4 weeks from today, South Carolina should be practicing football. If it's not the first practice or the second practice, it's going to be right at the very beginning. Normally, South Carolina gets going right around July 31st, August 1st. That actually might be backed up just a hair this year with the first game not being until September 5th. But 4 weeks from today is August the 3rd. I'm going to speculate that's right around. Typically, they start on like a Friday, I think, Tyler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm correct on that?
Yeah.
Which would be July the 31st. So I'm kind of speculating. I don't know. Do we know the exact number of weeks? Because August 7th would be 5 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. 4 weeks out. So maybe a day or two. But 4 weeks from today, 2 weeks from today, SEC Media Day. 4 weeks from today, we should be having football practice. And 8 weeks from today, you and I will be sitting here. I'm not going to lie to you. I hope I'm not, because that means I'm getting a kidney, and I'd be very happy with that.
Sure.
But 8 weeks from today, we should be sitting here, and it's game week. That's what's just around the corner.
Yep. 61 days.
Not far. I will admit, I went looking for a Phil Steele magazine over the weekend.
Okay.
I was told, not by any of Phil Steele's people, that early on he has an exclusive rights deal with Barnes & Noble.
Yes, I'm actually planning on going and picking mine up today.
Is that true? Do we have a Barnes & Noble in Lexington? Is that
not in Lexington? Well, they have one at the mall.
Okay.
I don't like going to the mall.
The mall?
Yeah, the mall.
Columbiana.
Yeah, I don't like malls in general.
I'm with
but I especially am not a fan of that mall. But yeah, I think the initial, at least initially, it's all at Barnes & Noble.
Okay, all right. Where?
There's another one on Garner's Ferry too.
That's where you're going?
That's where I was going to go.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, no Phil Steele, because I didn't realize that he had an exclusive deal with Barnes & Noble for like I think it's like the first month, or is what
something like that.
I read online because I couldn't find it and was
I made the mistake last year of going with the digital copy, and I did not like that because it was very tough to navigate. So I'm going back to the physical copy this year.
I understand. All right. So either Columbiana or Garner's Ferry, Barnes & Noble, something. I may have to follow you. If you see my Tahoe right behind you, I'm not trying to follow you, but I am following you. 803-404-6100. So when we last left you on Thursday, South Carolina had landed Joshua Dobson, 5-star defensive back out of originally Catawba Ridge, now at Huff High School in Charlotte. And we waited patiently for Davion Jones to make his commitment. He did so. It was to the University of South Carolina. That was followed up on Friday night by a commitment from Nate Carson, another 4-star prospect, offensive lineman, could play multiple positions, out of Irmo High School, commits to South Carolina over Georgia and Colorado and Clemson. And then on Saturday, you get one more commitment for the Gamecocks. Now, this one, being nice. I'm being nice. Not as big a deal, right? Jaden Brody, like a 3-star, 6'2", about 220. He's going to have to grow, kind of developmental project. Is that fair? Am I being mean? Am I being mean?
He is noted as a high 3-star that has the potential to become a 4,
okay.
But at this point in time, he is 3. And we always used to joke about the 3-star mafia, the fan base that, anytime you have a 3-star commitment, why do we care about that guy? Which I can understand to a degree. But yes, out of the 4 guys that committed last week, he would be on, as far as star rating, the lowest end.
Yeah, not trying to be mean to him, but out of the 4, he was the lowest rated, and quite honestly, the least recruited. And he still had offers from Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech, is who it came down to, along with South Carolina. But with that being said, let's look at this. What did you take away from this 4-day recruiting run? What was Tyler Head's personal thoughts when you see Jones roll? We talked about Dobson. Did we talk about Dobson? Yeah, we talked about Dobson. Yeah. That was Wednesday night. Yeah. We did not talk about Jones. We did not talk about Carson in particular, and then obviously throw Brody in there as well. Jaden Brody, again, the other one. But what was your personal assessment of, 4 guys in 4 days?
That tells me that South Carolina is very competitive in the NIL space, especially when you're able to land a top guy like Dobson competing against the A&Ms and Michigans and teams like that. Like, we know there was a push for more resources, and it sounds like that's the case here. Now, look, money's not the end-all be-all for why these guys end up committing places. You know, you do have to like the coach and like the culture and all that kind of stuff, but they don't come for free. So that tells me, especially for that run of days, that Carolina's doing a really good job when it comes to allocating resources.
Yeah, I guess. Can I play devil's advocate for a second?
Sure.
Here's how I kind of look at it. I think I said this. I don't know if you were in the room on Thursday or not. Here's how I kind of looked at it. It's becoming a little bit too much like NFL free agency, right? We know this. You got a lot of money coming off the books, right? A lot. What we can only assume is a lot.
Yeah.
Stewart, Harbor, for the record, my son, Austin, was able to keep Lenore Sellers for his actual 4th year, his redshirt 4th year.
Okay.
On the video game.
Yeah, he always ends up in the games that I've played. He always transfers after 1 year, and he ends up like Virginia Tech or something.
Sorry, I got a doctor's call right there that I'm going to go listen to in a second. But to go back to this. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. You assume you're taking that money off of the books. That frees up a lot of money. And then, if you're being honest about it, South Carolina has missed on multiple recruits that I think they wanted. Now, you take that pool of money, you try to spread it out over 10, 12 players, that money shrinks, right?
Sure.
Do the math on it. Well, unfortunately, you miss on the Jaden Bryants, the Fred Ards. You can go through some of the other guys. And what you end up doing is you end up having more money. And now, when it comes down to a Texas A&M or a Michigan who's trying to spread their money around, I think you can hit on guys like a Carson, like a Dobbs, a Dobson, not the quarterback for Tennessee, Joshua Dobbs, but a Dobson and a Davion Jones. And I think that's where this comes into play. Also, I think we did have this conversation because I asked you who behind Stewart and Harbor and Sellers is lined up to be the big money guys next year on the team. Somebody will emerge,
sure,
but we don't know who it is right now.
Yeah, I can't definitively say one way or the other. There's some candidates, but I wouldn't say that anybody's a slam dunk.
Also to this, I'll admit, do you buy into the term, I don't know if Chris and Wes use it. I think it was Wes and myself and J.C. Sherby used to have recruiting momentum. Do you buy into recruiting momentum?
A little bit. I think there's something to it. Especially in today's world where it's more transactional than anything else. I don't think it's the end-all, be-all like it maybe once was, but there's something to it. I think that certainly had an effect last week to a degree, especially when you talk about Jones or Dobson and Jones being teammates and both committing.
Do you put any stock in coaches twisting this to get the most attention? It's kind of well known, but it was never proven that Bobby Bowden would have, if you remember way back in the day when recruiting was really fun, a bunch of guys commit on signing day or flip on signing day, and so all of a sudden it looked like Florida State just hit it big at the very end. You remember that? Do you remember those?
I do remember the kind of tail end of that.
I wonder now, because I've also heard stories of coaches dictating a little bit on when you commit, when you don't commit, like being like, hey, do this to help us out. I can't help but wonder if Shane was like, hey, what if we did a 4 in 4 days? And Josh is like, oh, I'm going to do mine Independence Day. He's like, nah, why don't you kick yours off on the first? We'll talk about that. We'll finish up we'll continue to finish up some little football recruiting when we come back as the halftime show. So how do you feel about the run of recruits for South Carolina coming in? I mean, it's so different. It's so different than it used to be because I'll admit, I'm Tyler, 10 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, man, we're hot. We're on a roll.
Yeah.
A lookout world. And now I'm kind of like, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people have made comments about what Josh Dobson said, Joshua Dobson. I think they were fair comments. There's a long way to go to signing day. You know, he doesn't know. Look, it's no secret that Shane Beamer's job status isn't exactly what I would call stable. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you replicate 4-8 again, you're probably looking for a new coach.
And 5-7 might even be, 6-6. I think he's fine at 6-6. I think, but that's the key word is Bill Gunner thinks.
It depends on how you get to 6-6.
It's very true. So, when Josh Dobson says, well, I'm committed for now, or I'm however he worded it, whatever the exact verbiage was, I get it. I'm not arguing. But I also know what stopped nothing, especially in football, what stops Texas A&M or Michigan, Tyler, or Miami for that matter, or anybody from coming in and going, hey, what's Carolina offering you? What's your NIL deal? Oh, okay, we can double that.
And that's why it is harder to get excited about these kind of things because, again, it is 5 months till early signing day, and especially for a guy like Dobson, as we know, that doesn't mean that schools are just going to back up and say, all right, he's committed to Carolina, we'll leave him alone now. Like, no, they are, if they haven't already been doing it, they are trying to tell you how bad Carolina is, how Shane Beamer is definitely not going to be here in 2027, that team's going to go 2-10 this year, and they're going to be looking for a new head coach. So you may as well go ahead and flip your commitment to Texas A&M now. Oh, by the way, we'll give you more money than whatever they're paying you.
Exactly. And that's, look, I have no problem with him doing that. And person says point taken on Dobson. Check his clarifying comments. No, I saw those. But the point is, like, they don't. Words are words in this day and age. And I guess you could say they were about as meaningless way back in the day, to almost 20 years ago, when Gary Gray committed to South Carolina and was their biggest recruiter and ended up going to Notre Dame. When Nick Saban said he wasn't leaving the Miami Dolphins and snuck out overnight. When was it Petrino that snuck out on the Falcons?
Yes, he did. He left notes in the locker, and famously, owner Arthur Blank realized he had left when he saw him being introduced as the Arkansas head coach on the news the next morning.
And again, no offense to Sidney Rice. Sidney Rice said, I'm coming, or told Spurrier he was coming back. Things change. Things happen. And now, with the NIL portion of this more prevalent, it's hard to tell when you get a commitment what that means. And this is what bothers me. This is what grinds my gears, if you will. It used to be when you landed a Jadeveon Clowney or a Marcus Lattimore or a Stephon Gilmore, Devontae Holloman, you didn't worry about how long you had them.
Sure.
You kind of knew 3 years. That was your plan. We're getting them for 3 years. Joshua Dobson can have an incredible freshman season and be recruited. He's recruited. He's going to be recruited for 4 more years, 3 more, whatever it is, the rest of this year, and then his freshman, sophomore, and I guess technically his after his freshman, after his sophomore, and I guess technically after his junior year, even though you hope he's going to the NFL because that would mean it's been a phenomenal career. But it's not like you lock these kids in. And I remember thinking that with Dylan Stewart, like, oh, man, this is awesome. This is incredible. South Carolina goes out of state and lands a kid like Dylan Stewart. Never happens. It's awesome.
Yep.
And then thinking like, well, if he shines out, if he's awesome, how do you know he's going to stick around? How do you know at that point, Bama, or as we saw, LSU tried, folks. I mean, they hired Sterling Lucas, and they threw money at Stewart, and he didn't budge. And that's kudos to his character, or whatever you want to call it.
It's certainly rare nowadays, especially, and look, I think it goes without saying that nobody's accusing South Carolina of being the biggest spender in terms of NIL and the transfer portal. So, if if LSU had swooped in and just, hey, backed up the Brinks truck to Dylan Stewart and he left, we'd be upset about it. But I don't think, it'd be like shocked, like, well, it's kind of the nature of the beast. So I think it's a testament to the fact that they've hung on to him, to Lenore Sellers, to several of these guys that, in a lot of people's minds, probably shouldn't still be here 3 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you get these kids and I just said, and I say this coming from the heart of a recruiting dork who, and I know I've said this multiple times on this program, who fully got into it, who was fully invested, like in college and post college. In between classes, I'd be checking the little Rivals updates and seeing where everybody was going, and very excited for signing day and taking signing day off and so forth from school and so forth and so on, and being excited when South Carolina landed a guy. And it stinks to not have that because it did kind of get you through the off season, right?
Sure.
Like it kind of got you in, and the way the recruiting calendar is now, let's be honest, we get into the slow months of June and July to that extent when camps are going on. It would really be something, to kind of hold you over. But now you get a commitment, and you're going like, all right, number one, can we hold this guy to signing day? B, how many years is he going to stay? I watched the game last night, Tyler. I just was on and felt like watching some football after the other football that I watched. And Tulane and Duke.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Tulane playing, who had lost their quarterback to Duke the year prior.
Yep.
Darian Mensah, who now Darian Mensah is playing quarterback for Duke last night. And then Tulane is filling his shoes with Jake Retzloff, who not quite the same in terms of a transfer. But, yeah, it was that. And when I went to bed, of course, the game, I could look it up now and tell you what the final score was because it was, I think, back in September. But Tulane was up 21-3.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of the beast now.
Sure.
You try to keep who you can keep.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Again, if the shoe was on the other foot, and let's say that Dobson had committed A&M the other day instead of South Carolina, then we'd all view it as like, well, hey, Carolina's still going to recruit him. Carolina's still got a chance. Hey, maybe they need to pony up a little bit more in NIL. This isn't over yet, right? And that's what those other fan bases are saying, and not just for Dobson, but for Jones and Carson and all these other guys when they commit. Like, hey, 5 months until signing day. They're still going to be talking to them, still going to be meeting with them, visits and all that kind of stuff. This ain't over. And really, again, we still see flips on signing day and stuff like that. You can't feel comfortable. And really, even when they sign on the dotted line, sometimes things happen and, they're transferring out middle of spring and stuff like that. You can never feel a level of comfort until you know for sure they're in your uniform.
803-404-6100. That's exactly right. You're exactly right. And then, again, you're kind of like, oh, we'll keep them for about 12 games, and then we'll see what happens.
It's a one step at a time. Like, all right, we got him for 27.
That's right.
Or 26, and then we'll deal with 27 after that.
And Rob weighs in and says, yep, cautious optimism. Committed used to mean 90% committed. Now it means, I think, I'll sign in December. We'll see. I don't get excited until they sign. There you go. We will come back, and baseball had a big weekend, too. Are your expectations changing for baseball like mine are? Are you raising the bar a tad? We'll talk about it. You're listening to the Halftime Show. It is 12:48 on a Monday. It looks like all of a sudden out here, at least in downtown Columbia, we are about to have a nice little July 6th post 4th of July storm coming in. So if you're out there, I haven't looked at our radar yet, but Tyler and I just took notice as we hit the break that it has become quite dark out there.
Yeah, we've entered into that time of year. My mentor in radio, Jeff Dancer, told me years ago, he said, you don't have to look up the weather in July. It's going to be really hot, and there's probably going to be a thunderstorm sometime in the afternoon. And I've always thought about that because, yes, it looks like it's going to rain in about the 1 o'clock hour, and the sun's back out by like 2, and it'll be nice and humid for everybody. So that's kind of the weather just about every day now.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. But be safe out there. Yeah, I get another flash.
You didn't leave the top down on the convertible, did you?
Did not. Also parked in the parking garage.
Smart.
Very wise. 803-404-6100. This is becoming just so interesting to me because South Carolina lands the coach they wanted in Kevin Schnall, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You go out and you get him. You go, man, I can't wait. I can't wait for February 19th, for opening day. I can't wait to see. We're back on track. All right, might not be next year, but we're back on track. Then he starts to land some players, and you go, all right, I'm more intrigued now. By February 19th. Can't wait to see him. Maybe we can get to the postseason. And he started to pull in the kids from Wake Forest. He's pulled in some kids that were instrumental in Coastal Carolina being good. And Tyler, over the weekend, he lands the number one. I don't like baseball because there's too many outlets. But the number one bat, I guess, the number one player in the transfer portal, and that's Texas Tech. Utility player, third baseman, outfielder, Connor Schaus, who led the nation in hitting.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I think you start to look around and you go, just how good. Now, the depth at pitching is still an issue. That's according to John Whittle. We do not have Jamie Bradford today. But do you start to look around and, really change your opinion of what this baseball team could be in year one? I don't want to allow myself to do that.
Are you afraid to get too excited about things in life, especially as an adult? Yeah. If you're really having a good day, all the lights are green, maybe you, got some free food or something along those lines. You look around towards the end of the day man, the other shoe has to drop at some point. And I've had too good of a day. I'm feeling too good. I'm too happy. Something's got to go wrong. I feel like that's kind of how a lot of people are looking at this. Man, we got Kevin Schnall. Lots of hype and excitement for that. He's going out there. He's killing it in the transfer portal. What's going to go wrong? What other shoe is going to drop? Where it's there we go, same old Carolina again. We haven't gotten there. Hopefully we don't. Knock on wood, hopefully we don't get there at all. But, this has been for, the month that he's been the head coach, not even a month he's been the head coach. It's all been great so far.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you've missed on anything that you wanted aside from Will Craddock. I think that's it, and that's a pretty high success rate. You bring in Bill Salanto from Wake Forest, who, again, I'm not going to pretend and know that I know all about the new hitting coach, but on paper and the way the insiders, if you will, are making it out, this is a massive hire.
Yep.
It looks like he's been able to bring some of Wake Forest better players with him. I'm fascinated by this. And I think here it is, Tyler, and I was having this discussion over the weekend. South Carolina has been so bad the last 2 years. Do you allow yourself, as you just asked, kind of, to think that next year you're a super regional contender? They've been bad. I know for you it's a little different because you have never seen them be this bad. But you haven't been here that long. I have been here for 44 years. We have seen two of the worst seasons ever in the history of South Carolina baseball. And all of a sudden, it's kind of even with the portal, and I always say this, you can turn things around. I don't know if there's a year zero anymore.
Sure.
But it's almost to the point with this of you're are we, is Schnall raising our expectations too quickly?
I think for some people, I think most people are cautiously optimistic still because guess what? The SEC is still really, really hard. So you can have a great roster. You still got to survive the grind. But what happened the past 2 years is such a low bar to clear that, said, hey, this team's going to win 12 games next year and they're going to be somebody's 4 seed in the tournament. We'll take it. because it's way better than what it has been, right? So I don't think people are setting expectations too high right out of the gate because I think they understand. And again, we've talked about it. There's a smart fan base. They understand baseball really, really well because they've seen it played at a high level for a very, very long time. I think most people can be reasonable in terms of what to expect in year one, even though this roster is looking like what he's putting together is really, really excellent.
Fan for short is for fanatical.
Yes.
I don't think you're right anymore on that. I think he's and you know, there's nothing wrong with this. By the way, there's nothing wrong. Good Lord, South Carolina athletics, men's athletics in particular, needs something to be really excited about. Like we're scared of football right now, right?
Maybe we're overcompensating a little bit.
We're scared of football. Unfortunately, and I'm not saying this in a mean way, but it's true, nobody has any faith in basketball.
Not until we see it.
But baseball, you've gone out and landed what is supposed to be one of the premier coaches in the country, and now it looks like you're flipping the roster with some very good players, and I think people want South Carolina to be so good to be back to where they were because they've seen it. I'm not sure what we're expecting now come February 19th of next season. Like, I'm not sure. You know, they may have some bumps in the road.
Sure.
They may not win the Clemson series. They may not have a 500 SEC record. And all of a sudden people go, wait a minute, did we get the right guy? It's just interesting to know where we're all kind of going with this.
We at least get to feel good until then.
That's a good point. Feel good until then. We come back. There was a big wedding this weekend. It wasn't mine. Wasn't mine, but we'll tell you about it. rolling along. Sorry, turn the mic on, Gunner. Good Lord. Come off a 3-day vacation. You'd think I'd still remember. By the way, probably not that many of you care. Actually, let me verify this before I say it out loud on air.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Give me just a second. I said
Gotta
this.
Confirm our sources.
I said this last week, but let me just before I yes, I believe it was yesterday. Would have marked my 10-year anniversary. I'm 99% it was July the 5th.
Okay. Well, happy 10-year radioversary.
Thank you. Yeah, it's either July the 5th or July the 6th. I don't remember. I remember, I'm just looking to see if I've got, that's 10 years ago. It's not in my calendar.
Was it a Monday?
No, the Monday that year was the 4th.
Okay.
And I'll never forget, we came in here I think we came in on the 5th. I think we came in the next day in 2016. And on that day, or the day after, and we replaced the great Tommy Moody and Bob Shields and Tommy and Bob and Benji Norton. And sad to say, the three of them are not with us anymore. And rest in peace of those guys. But the day we came in, Tyler, I know, was like a day after Kevin Durant went to Golden State.
Okay.
And you know how much there is to talk about like this time of the year, right? Like,
yep.
Well, that was the big story. And we discussed it, and I thought people were going to be waiting outside to kill us. Like, nobody, and I get it. I got it. Nobody wants to talk NBA, right? Like, very little.
Not here typically.
Not here typically. Definitely not in the offseason. We were able to get a little out of LeBron last week. We ignored the Jaylen Brown trade, which actually, if you're an NBA fan, was wildly interesting on so many different levels. But Kevin Durant had just decided to go to Golden State, and people were people didn't care, and people were not happy with us for discussing it. And I was like, don't know if I'm going to make it 10 years, but I have. And here we are sitting here now on July the 6th, 2016. So 10 years of radio at 107.5 The Game. I pat myself on the back.
I had not even cracked my first radio microphone this time 10 years ago.
Okay.
I was in the summer before my final semester of community college.
All right.
So, okay. Yeah, shout out Georgia Perimeter.
There you go. Okay. All right. The home of Rocky, basketball player that came from South Carolina to Georgia, from Georgia Perimeter back in the day. A guard. Have to go back and look that up.
Well, it's now Perimeter College of Georgia State University, and they no longer have a basketball team, but they did have one at the Clarkston campus, which I didn't go to. Okay.
Well, but so 10 years here at 107.5 The Game, and have worked with a lot of great people. Love working with you. And Dave is off this week, for those of you wondering.
He's got like 87 vacation days he's got to use.
Is this where we put a GoPro on Dave and you just like follow him?
Dude, do we want to put a GoPro on Dave? Do we want to see Dave's perspective on things?
I think it would be. I don't think this is insulting. It's kind of like a cat. Like, you just don't know where a cat's gonna wander and what exactly. Like, I don't think anything obscene is gonna happen. Like, but it's like, like you never know when a cat gets outside, an indoor cat gets outside, where it's going to go and wander into. Is it going to chase a bird? Is it going to go after a squirrel? Is it going to go down a sewer? What exactly is going to happen? And I feel like with Dave, when Dave has free time and not a structured life like this, now I don't know, he might be seeing his grandbaby today. That'd be awesome. I hope he's doing that. But I feel like when Dave is not structured, he's just wandering around the streets of Columbia, just because y'all don't know, Dave I don't think he is now. Maybe you can help me, because he was in his car the last time. Mm-hmm. He was in the parking garage, or he was pulling the parking garage. But he normally walked here.
Yeah, takes the bus sometimes.
Yeah.
Because his car had a issue with it. I don't know where it stands with all that, but yes, you can see Dave in various forms of transportation.
Well, so anyway, Tyler, to be honest with you, I feel like a GoPro on Dave, you don't know. He might be at a guitar store. He might be checking out a Larkin Poe concert. I mean, he might do both in a day. I don't know. It might be just.
When he comes back next week, we'll ask him to recount everything that he did.
Now that's the dangerous part. How many people?
Well, if you wanted a GoPro on him, you would see it.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I don't know.
That's what our YouTube channel needs, is just a 24-hour Dave cam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just to see what he's fixing for dinner at night. In his house full of guitars.
We determined, he told us that his stove is storage. So does he cook? Is he ordering DoorDash all the time? How many does he feed the cats? Dave's got an interesting life that we don't know enough about.
That's what I'm saying. For all we know, he's just out wandering Columbia. Hopefully he's indoors now. He looks like he's about to get a storm. A couple of y'all weighed in, said pouring. Chris said pouring in Richland Northeast. Another texter went with absolute monsoon in Lexington. All right, that's not good. So, all right, 803-404-6100. We'll get back into some sports, in particular South Carolina's run of recruiting that took place. But we do have to bring it up just because I'm glad don't have this knowledge, Tyler.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was like common knowledge or if they did. I know just enough to have the conversation, but did we know that Travis and Taylor were going to get married? But it was a general, we knew they were engaged. I had heard rumors of Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
But did people know it was this weekend? And then also the links they went to sneak people in?
Yeah, NDAs are being signed, and there's no, I think, official photos from inside. At least not yet. People were posting photos hey, here's my outfit, and I went. A lot of people in the NFL, obviously. But yeah, it was funny enough, I was doing this show last year when you were obviously out for a while when they got engaged. And I was I didn't think I would ever break the news of Taylor Swift getting engaged on sports radio, but here I am. And then I thought they were going to get married on apparently June 13th because she loves the number 13.
Okay.
That apparently wasn't true. But yeah, in the past couple of weeks, all this kind of stuff secretly came together about it being at MSG. And yeah, on Friday, they got married, and apparently Adam Sandler officiated, and every person in the sports and entertainment world was apparently there.
Yeah, they said about 1,000 is the number that I've heard. And again, kudos to them for keeping it quiet, or as quiet as these two could. I don't really blame them for the media attention that they get. It comes with her being, I don't know, what is it, maybe the best pop star out there. Maybe
she's the biggest.
Best. Yeah. Whatever y'all want to call her. And then Travis Kelce just seems like a very fun-loving, easygoing guy that's fallen rear end backwards into a beautiful woman and with a lot of money, by the way.
I will say this. I think Madison Square Garden has missed out on a golden opportunity because, Swifties are obsessed about everything related to Taylor Swift, and I say that as somebody that knows several of them. Colin Taylor, who I used to do the morning show with, is a big Swiftie. He was actually, he appeared in the documentary on Disney Plus for all of 5 seconds that came out last year. Big Swiftie, him and his wife are. But that fan base of hers, any detail about her or anything about her, they, are all in on, right? I think Madison Square Garden missed an opportunity to, today or this entire week, leave everything up that was there for the wedding, altar, whatever structures they built inside there, seats, tables, whatever, and allow people to buy tickets to just walk around. You know how much money you could have made of people all over the world coming in, paying insane prices to just stand at the altar where she stood or something. I think they missed an opportunity there to do that.
They don't need the money. Where does the money go? They don't need the money.
I don't know, but they could have made a lot of it.
They don't need the money. I'll just, in this day and age, and this while we're talking about it for a minute, where, these things, anything with I really, honestly, this is not my forte, but with, what is it, Prince Harry and whomever, is it Meghan?
Yeah, the royal wedding.
Are they still a huge deal?
I don't know, man. I can't keep up with all that. I know that was a big deal.
In all seriousness, this is, as stupid as it sounds, this is the closest thing we have to a royal couple, whereas they wanted to. You mentioned that if they wanted to televise this thing,
oh sure, that would have shattered
women
TV numbers.
Women would have been up at 3 a.m. like watching everything that happened, like they did. I don't know whatever the princes. That wasn't there. I think it was besides Meghan Markle or something. There was like a wedding or something maybe a few years ago. My serious question is this, and you wrote this down because I thought about this a little bit. Like, would I get it? 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Would you want to get married in Madison Square? Like I've been to Madison Square Garden. Now, there's a caveat to this, and I've told this story. My mother, when I was young, when I was 8, 9, 10, had leukemia.
Yeah.
And she was at Sloan Kettering Memorial Hospital, and we lived in New York, and I went to a lot of Yankees games. I never went to a Knicks game, but I went to, at that time, some WWF matches up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been in Madison Square Garden, but I never got to go to a Knicks game. I've never been to a Knicks game. I've been to Mets games. I've been to Yankees games. That's why I'm a Yankees fan. But I've never been to a basketball game. Madison Square Garden just doesn't have that allure to me. It was fun watching the finals,
sure,
and seeing everything, and I enjoyed it. But Tyler, like, I was thinking about this. It's someday to get kind of personal with y'all. I would like to get married again.
Okay.
I've now gone, speaking of a 10-year anniversary here, we're coming up on a 10-year anniversary or something else. But I would like to get married again. I can't imagine my first wedding wanting to get married in Madison Square Garden. Definitely. Now, neither of these are going through the second.
Right.
But, like, I'm confused by why that was the venue. I don't know if we're going to get a word on this, but why that.
Maybe feasibility to get all those people in a private place. New York obviously is I don't know how many of them live in the New York area, but probably an easier place for a lot of them to get to. Obviously it's indoors, so you can kind of do whatever you want with it. I don't know. That was an interesting choice that I don't know if they're ever going to explain it or not, but I'm sure they have a good reason. It wasn't just random.
I don't know. I'd like to hear, like, when y'all think of arenas, when I think of stadiums and ballparks and, all right, where do I want to go? Like, Wrigley and my top three are Wrigley, I'm blanking on Fenway.
Yeah.
Wrigley, Fenway, and Lambeau.
Okay.
Like, those to me are, in this country, iconic sports venues that before my life comes to an end, I want to see a game at.
Fair.
Madison Square Garden, and again, I've been there for a wrestling match, so maybe a couple wrestling matches, so maybe this takes away from it. But Tyler, like, I got to be honest, I don't know if I would have seeing a Knicks game or a St. John's game or a Big East game at Madison Square Garden as one of my highlight moments. Folks, some of y'all listening this afternoon went up to MSG for South Carolina's Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games against was it Baylor? I think it was Baylor. Yeah, they beat Marquette and then Duke. Baylor and Florida. Like, that was great because South Carolina was in it.
Yeah.
Do you go out of your way? Do you put MSG as a top 5 must-attend venue in America, a sports venue to watch a sporting event? If you were to have 5, what would it be? I mean, again, I gave you 3.
Yeah. I have to think about it for a minute. I don't know if it'd crack my top 5. It'd be in top 10, but I don't. And again, I think this was more from their standpoint of a location than like the prestige of the venue itself. I don't know. I don't think Taylor looked at it as like, oh my God, I love MSG so much, let me get married there. I think it was more the feasibility of what it could mean for the people attending more than anything else.
Texter says no helicopter drone accessibility, security infrastructure already in place.
Nobody can sneak a peek.
All right,
you're secure.
Well, maybe if I ever get married again, just gotta
hey, you can bury it at CLA.
A good point. Ooh,
there you go.
There we go. All right, lucky next Miss Gunner.
Next best thing.
We'll be back. The halftime show. Geez, we only took 3 days off. You think I'd remember how to turn a microphone on? I've missed more days than that consecutively, but apparently turning a microphone on to start the segment is one of the difficulties today. We do have breaking news. This is serious breaking news. FIFA, the well-known, well-run organization, this FIFA, has officially rejected Belgium's appeal against the suspension of Flo. How do we say it again? I practiced. I swear.
Flo
Balogun. I swear I practiced that all day long too yesterday because I was like, I'm going to be saying his name. Like, this is kind of important. I'm going to be saying his name. Flo Balogun. FIFA has officially rejected Belgium's appeal against Flo Balogun's one-match ban, so he is officially playing tonight. And if we win, by the way, like, do we all just congregate in 5 points at the Fountain again? You weren't around for the Final Four run where
I was not.
Anytime South Carolina won, it was just everybody down to the Fountain and everybody in it. I mean, but yeah, is that what we do tonight? What do we do? What do we do tonight if we win? Because again, in the grand scheme of things, we get to the round of 8.
Sure, which would tie for the farthest they'd ever gone.
Yeah, and you're like, that's great, but are we just settling for a participation trophy of getting to the round of 8? That's kind of the way I feel. Like, it's kind of. It's me. It's it's me. It's like I'm thankfully at 44, I have calmed down substantially. I mean, you're talking about somebody who lost to his dad in basketball, in driveway basketball at like 8, and didn't talk to him for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Like literally would not talk to him for 2 weeks. You're talking, and my mother had to sit us down.
Yeah.
This was right before my mother got sick. Had to sit us down. It was like,
must have been an intense game.
I think he hit a layup to beat me, or I don't know, something. Anyway, I was 8. He should have won the game. I didn't realize it at the time. And then you're also talking to somebody, and I hate to admit this, but I'll admit it, who, like, when I lost in Little League, I cried.
Every time?
Every time. Like, every time. I mean, I'm a crybaby.
You were that kid on the team?
I'm a whiner.
We all had that kid on the team.
I hate losing. I hate being wrong, and I hate losing. And at least I've come to an acceptance of when you do Sports Talk Radio and you have to talk, like, as many days as we do, and we have to put out some content, I'm going to be wrong some.
Sure.
I've come to that understanding. But I hate being wrong and, like, despise losing. And I realize, here's the other crazy thing about this, Tyler, and you can, I don't know how you were as a wrestler. Like, I know how much I despise losing, and I realize I am not 1/10 of what Jordan and Kobe was when it came to, like, their hatred for losing.
Sure.
And I'm like, that's why, not that I was talented like they were, but I'm like, that's why what pushed those guys to be better than the average great NBA player is, like, they truly hated. They would do whatever it took.
Yeah, they were on another level, and like the Last Dance stuff where it turned out Jordan was just making up things that people didn't say to him, as if feel like, oh, that guy
George Karl didn't talk to him at dinner.
Yeah,
so.
disrespected me at dinner. Well, that didn't actually happen, but I made it up so I can murder him. So, like, that's crazy, man. But, like, that's the kind of competitor that he is. So you're the crying kid on the team.
Oh, gosh.
Every baseball team I've played on up until, like, high school, there was always that one kid. So that was you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, if you struck out or grounded out, like, would you still cry on the way back to the dugout, or was it just if you lost the game?
Lost the game.
Okay, because I had a teammate. I won't out him here, but I had a teammate that, like, he would, if he put the ball in play, even if it advanced a runner, if he scored a runner, if he got thrown out at first, he would cry on his way back to the dugout. We're like, you did something positive. You did something good at the plate, but he couldn't understand that he didn't. That he thought he needed to get on base every single time.
I might, like. I mean, basketball. But in basketball, you don't have time for crying.
No,
if you get a stiff,
it's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Baseball, you have a walk back to the dugout and you go sit and wait.
Or if you make an error in the field, you're very lonely.
Yeah, especially if you're out the outfield and there's nobody within 100 yards of you.
Yeah,
or 100 feet or whatever.
But yeah, I was that kid. I was that cry. But going back to the point, like, I'm like, all right, this is great. This has been fun to follow, and I love the unity. I love that everybody is in it. I'm gonna love seeing, like, I'll do this at 6:00 tonight. The pregame will start. I'm going to be ready for the pregame because I love the passion. You know, it's a different way of looking at college game day, but I love the passion of it, and I love what's going on. And if we lose, that's what I'm going to miss. I'm not going to miss, they play soccer. Like, I'm going to miss the passion and the unity that we have.
Because, again, and look, we have soccer here in America. We have Major League Soccer. But if you don't have a tie to a team, it's hard to get into. Right? We're all gravitating towards the U.S. Men's National Team because they're representing our country. And again, this kind of happens every 4 years of the World Cup. And this just happens to be a year where they may be putting together a run where we're more into it than before. And yeah, it could all end tonight. It could end the round of 8. Heck, they could make it to the finals for all we know. I think most of us are kind of gliding through this with like blind optimism. That's like, hey, I'm just going to believe they're going to keep going until they don't, right? And, yeah, you're going to run into some really good teams these next couple games if you keep on going. But, you know, nothing's impossible, I guess.
I mean, you're right. It's fun to be a part of. It's really exciting to be a part of. And we'll see what happens in terms of how the game kind of plays out, what happens. I think this one tonight, I have not looked today, but I believe Vegas has this essentially for the team to. So there's two ways to bet this. You can bet the first 90 minutes where there could be a draw and they go to extra time, or you can bet the team to advance, which is the winner, and that is just whoever ends up winning the game, even if it goes to penalty kicks. But I think the team to advance, which is officially the winner, I believe that line is a pick'em. Did you look it up?
I'm looking at the odds on ESPN through DraftKings. America's actually favored by half a goal.
What's the money line?
Plus 145 for the U.S., plus 185 for Belgium.
Okay, so barely a favorite. So then that means they're showing you the draw too. What is the draw?
Draw is plus 240. It opened at 235.
Okay, so just a slight favorite to that would be the first just 90 minutes there, because again the game could draw and then nobody would win, obviously, whereas you can take the team to advance.
Okay,
which is a totally different bet.
So you can basically bet on it's going to go to extra time and or penalty kicks.
Right.
Okay.
So you can bet if you wanted to, you could wager on essentially the first 90 minutes.
Yep.
That's USA win, Belgium win, or draw. Those numbers are different. Or I bet if you looked at the numbers to advance, which is, again, just somehow, some way win. Doesn't matter if it's extra time or whatever. USA, I think, is a little bit closer to minus 110, 115, something like that. I have to look that up during the break. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in if you want to do so this afternoon when we come back. Tyler has got the is it PFF?
Yeah, Pro Football Focus.
Okay, all right. I don't know why it blanked on me, but mainly because it was college. But we're going to talk about the Pro Football
Focus.
Sure.
PFF.
Thank you. Got a lot on my mind. Top 50 return. I'm all excited about the soccer match. Top 50. One South Carolina player. Is it fair? We'll talk about it. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where today they might come in kind of handy. Looks like we got some really heavy thunderstorms rolling through the Midlands. One of our texters weighed in and said it was a monsoon. And if your home or your business is developing a leak, you've got no time to wait. It can really ruin or mess some things up. So call Mid-State Roofing today because, as they say, if you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. Mid-State Roofing's there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So maybe you don't notice the leak right away. Or maybe you want to be proactive. Maybe you want to call at midnight just to see if they're actually there. They'll be there. I promise. You'll speak with an on-call technician. Again, that phone number to call Midstate Roofing, 803-356-1919. Trust me, there's a leader. They've been there's a reason they've been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry for over 30 years. Find out today by calling Midstate Roofing. So we're all, I think, in a state of what's going to happen. What is South Carolina really going to look like this year? Some of y'all, and I'm not arguing with you, some of y'all are saying, well, this is the best team South Carolina's had in quite some time, in about 15 years. And definitely Beamer's best team. And if they don't go 9-3, he should be fired. I'm like, well, a little drastic. Some of y'all are looking at the schedule like me and being like, football team's better, Tyler, but so are the other teams.
Sure.
You're going against, again, college football playoff teams are returning their quarterback in Oklahoma and John Mateer, the Hulk, apparently, the way John Mateer's bulked up. But John Mateer, Georgia and Gunnar Stockton. Alabama does have a new quarterback. Texas A&M brings Marcel Reed back. So 3 out of your 4, 3 out of your 5, 4 out of your 5, 4 out of the 9, I was going to get there properly, SEC games are against college football playoff teams.
Right.
2 of them are really interesting, Florida and Tennessee, and then that leaves you the Arkansas, the Mississippi States, and the Kentuckys that you hope you can take advantage of because you should be.
Yeah.
But you see things, and one of the things we've been talking about, like, oh, they're going to be really good, Tyler, is certain mock drafts that are like, well, Dylan Stewart goes in the first round. Nick Harbor goes in the first round. Hey, Lenore Sellers goes in the first round. But then you've got Pro Football Focus, who puts out their top 50 players, and just one player listed in that.
Now, and again, Pro Football Focus is doing this based on a lot of metrics. And again, they put out grades for basically everything after every single game on every single player. They have their process. You know, this isn't just somebody's opinion. There is a process. Now they come up with these numbers. I think you can take the grades with a bit of a grain of salt. I like Pro Football Focus more for like the minute details of, hey, here's, you know, the percentage of throws that are made, 10 plus yards past the line of scrimmage, things like that aren't necessarily as subjective as maybe a grade necessarily is, but they're looking at the grades here when it comes to how they put these players in this list of top 50. So Dylan Stewart comes in at number 20 overall. It says Stewart was our number 2 edge rusher on this list last year and drops 1 spot after just an okay sophomore campaign. Still, his body of work and freaky tools deserve a spot in the top 3 of edge defenders on this list. They mentioned he had 80 in his 2 seasons in college football, 88 pressures, which is second only to Colin Simmons of Texas at the edge spot in terms of guys that have played in Power 4 the past 2 years. He's an elite pass rusher with a grade of 90.2 per PFF. His run grade improved tremendously a year ago, shooting up about 18 points, and has all the makings of a top 5 pick if he can bounce back as a junior, as their reasoning for putting him number 20 on the list.
Interesting, by the way, Colin Simmons is number 3 on that list, and you just mentioned it, 91 tackles, 29.5 for loss, and 21 sacks during his time in Texas so far. What do you – all right, let's start with this. When you only see one name, how does that change, or does it change your opinion of South Carolina in 2026?
I don't think it really changes my opinion because this is based off of like grades from a year ago, right? And we know Sellers did not play as good last year as he did the year prior. Could you make an argument that maybe Harbor could have been on this list? Sure, but there's a lot of really good wide receivers out there, so it doesn't surprise me that considering all these positions, Harbor doesn't crack the top 50. Maybe Peak, especially considering the fact that he was the top portal left tackle. Maybe a little surprised he doesn't crack this list, but like I'm not shocked that Stewart is the only one to make it on here. Because again, this is based more on the grades that PFF has given to these players as opposed to, hey, this is just somebody's opinion on who they think the top 50 players in college football are. Because we've seen some of those lists, and Sellers and Harbor and all those guys have made their way onto those lists. So this is kind of a different way to look at it because it is more based off of the analytics than anything else.
For the record, I've got 5, I could be wrong on this, 5 offensive, we talk about Peak, 5 offensive tackles on this list, so that would put him at 6. That might be fair. Carter Smith of Indiana is at number 8. I just had these right in front of me. Carter Smith is at number 8. Caden Green from Missouri is at 18. Trevor Gooseby is at number 21 from Texas. And then you get outside of that, and you start to go down the list. Trevor Layuk at Iowa is 34. And the last one is Jordan Seaton, the Colorado transfer to LSU. So in terms of tackles, if you're like, well, wait a minute, is Jacarius Peak a top 5 tackle in the country? I don't know.
And those are names a lot of us have heard, right? So those are kind of recognized as among the best in that group, and not all those guys went in the transfer portal, right? Peak was regarded as the top tackle in the transfer portal. Doesn't mean he's the top tackle in all of college football, though.
Yeah, yes, exactly. No, it was a little surprising. I don't know when Jordan Seaton's a weird. I remember his recruitment. And he basically openly admitted it was all about, even though he went to Colorado,
sure,
it was all about the money. Because he came to South Carolina on an official visit, and then he went to a place right now that, kudos to Deion Sanders, is notorious for not paying money to NIL. But nonetheless, that's interesting. The Sellers thing is, I'm with you. I didn't know where this debate was going to go. I didn't know if there was going to be like, hey, Sellers should be in there. Should Sellers be a top 50 overall player? Let's just should if you were just ranking players 1 through 50, would you have LaNorris Sellers on your top 1 through 50 football player list?
I think you can make a case for it.
Would you? Don't answer the question, Tyler.
Yes, if I'm going to go in terms of like what I think in terms of your top end potential, yes, I think he's in there because when you look at this list, the quarterbacks are Julian Sayin, Dante Moore, Arch Manning, Trinidad Chambliss, CJ Carr, Darian Mensah, Jordan Mailata, and Sam Levitt, all quarterbacks that made this top 50 list, again, based off of their grades and numbers from a year ago. No doubt that all those guys had better seasons than Sellers did, but if you're asking me, would I pick those guys over Sellers at his best? Probably not.
The Mensah one, you really don't realize how good Mensah was until you look at the numbers. Again, I'm not trying to be offensive to Duke or anybody like that, but the Mensah one is crazy because to me, I watched him play, and I was like, he's all right. He's not bad. And then you look at his numbers at the end of the year, and you're like, oh my goodness. Now, the one that's interesting to me on that list that I question because he was injured the majority of the year and things didn't go well, and I haven't read. I don't know if you've got the write up on Sam Levitt.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a write up? I know you gave one on. Is there a write up on Sam Levitt from last year?
Yeah, it says no shortage of pressure on Levitt to perform as the leader of the LSU's revamped offense. Last season was a disappointing win by his standards. Levitt is as physically gifted as any quarterback in the country, ranks among the top 10 in big-time throw rate. His athleticism is just as dangerous, and he's produced 39 explosive runs over the past 2 seasons. So I guess for what he did last year when he was healthy, it was enough in terms of his grades, I guess. I don't know. They are referencing things over the course of multiple seasons here, so I don't know. But he comes in at 41.
Yeah, when I looked at this list, that was the one that caught me off guard was the Sam Levitt one because last year, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Those are good numbers. Sellers, on the other hand, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Sellers threw for 2,400 yards. Levitt threw for 1,600. But again, as we mentioned, Levitt's season was cut short due to injury. Levitt, in his limited time, was sacked 18 times. Now, again, I say that because it ain't like Sam Levitt played a whole lot last year. And at least according to our good buddy Heath Klein, he hasn't done a whole lot at LSU so far with spring and prep. And there's questions now about his injury. But last year he played in 7 different ball games, but took 19 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
And again, fairly good season, but I was surprised he is higher up based on his last year against LaNorris, LaNorris wasn't great last year, but he wasn't awful.
Sure.
He wasn't awful.
Right, and I got to sign into my account here, but I was trying to look at his PFF grades to see how much that would factor in, because maybe he was just highly graded for those games that he played in, and that could have been a reason why he ends up on this list.
All right, so you got that. You mentioned Nick Harbor. Look, I know I'm very self-aware that I am very high on Christian Clark. By the way, Texas played Michigan over the weekend on I think it was SEC Network, and I rewatched that game. Or we rewatched most of it. I'm very self-aware that I've been very high on Christian Clark. I'm also very self-aware that with Nick Harbor, I am kind of like, it needs to be proven to me before I just hand anything to him, which is why I have said I think Jaden Sellers leads the team in receptions and yards, and Nick Harbor. So Nick Harbor not being on this list doesn't surprise me because, quite frankly, I'm not sure what Nick Harbor's done to be on the list.
And there's a lot of really great wide receivers out there, Jeremiah Smith, Cam Coleman, guys like that are rightfully on this list that he, at least right now, doesn't stack up to.
803-404-6100. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 2. It is the Halftime Show. we go from. Did y'all survive? Terry Ford now here doing some producing with us, hanging out for one more hour. Tyler's moved in the studio. Did y'all survive this heat? Like, oh my goodness, this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Like, what? How did you handle it?
So Friday, because my wife's birthday was over the weekend, we actually went to Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
Not to the beach. We went to like the boardwalk where Margaritaville is and all that kind of stuff. And there's obviously shops and things to do. I'll tell you, have you ever played putt-putt at Pop Stroke out there?
No, I'm not familiar with what that is.
It's a miniature golf. Of course, they got like a restaurant and a bar inside and stuff like that,
Kind
too.
of like a Top Golf, but for putt-putt.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
And the cool thing about it, because it's the middle of the day, they had misting fans at almost every single hole.
Oh, really?
So while you're standing there waiting to putt, you're just getting misted. They bring you water or whatever beverage you want out there. Really cool out there in Myrtle Beach. So we did that. Played a couple rounds out there to beat the heat on Friday. Saturday, we did go to the Peach Festival in Gilbert. We do that every single year. Only lasted like an hour because it was just, and even like in the shade, it's just so muggy. And they have because it's at the community park right next to elementary school. And at one point, I'm sitting in the shade and I look at the sign at the elementary school that tells you like the time, the date, and the weather. It said 102. Which I think that was the heat index because it felt like that. The real heat was like 96, 98, but it felt like 102, and I believe that because that's how hot it was. So, yeah, it didn't last super long outside on Saturday.
I was actually surprised they still did the Peach Festival. I left Thursday night. Austin had a basketball practice out there, and we had to go down Peach Festival Road, and people were already parking their trucks, backing it up so that they could get there and observe the parade on Saturday. And I was surprised they still did it because it was blazing hot. I say all that now because we look outside and it's pouring rain. We got a monsoon. Yep. Look, I've said it, and Terry and Tyler will tell you, and I will still say this, even at this heat and with this kidney, my skin is a lot different. The heat's bothering me. I'll still take this or that over January or February any time of the year. Like, I had some people like, is this too hot for you? Now do you feel bad about being cold in the studio? And I was like, no, I don't. And I will gladly sit outside with the gnats and with everything and then deal with the cold. I can deal with this.
Hey, Tyler, have you ever seen a man like wear a coat in like June, like Gunner?
Oh,
I have not.
Oh,
never seen anything like Gunner in my life.
What was it? When did I go to Charlotte? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Now, part of it is I knew I was going to be in a hospital. I had jeans, a long sleeve, one of these like hooded long sleeve shirts that I'll wear, and a pullover. 2 weeks ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. It was a week ago. It was a week ago Monday.
Yeah, I'm one of those like
I wasn't going to be cold in that hospital. I was not going to be cold in that hospital.
I legitimately, I don't think I touch anything long sleeve from like early May until usually like mid-October. I feel weird if I do.
Oh,
like even like a rain jacket. I'm like, it's June. Why am I wearing long sleeves? Like, that's kind of how I view it. Even like if I'm like, it can be cold in studio, but I'm like, oh, well, it's the summertime. I'm not going to put on long sleeves.
Nah, I mean, Terry's professional. He's in there. He's got long sleeves.
Well, he has to dress up. That's his job.
He looks.
We can look like slobs. It's okay.
But yeah,
I'd kill to look like a slob.
Yeah.
Just telling you.
Well, good luck to y'all out there. I think we got a few more days. I will say, this is what makes me fearful for September 5th. Like tailgating September. I'm one of those people. Y'all have heard it. I've said it. I'm a noon guy. Get me in. Let's tailgate early. Let's go to the game. Let's be back at the house by 5 or 6. I love it. This is the one where I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. That one might be a bad decision. So we got that to look forward to.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely going to be like 108 degrees. There's not going to be a cloud in the sky, and there might be some people passing out at that one.
I will also just say, I was like, I forget who it was. Maybe it was yesterday? No, it wasn't yesterday. Was it yesterday? They played a soccer match in Philadelphia, which was in the middle of that heat bubble.
Yep.
And I was actually like worried about the players. Like,
well, that's why they're doing all these hydration breaks. But I think
I think they do that naturally now, don't they? Anyway,
do they? I thought Jay mentioned that this was a new thing, but I mean, especially like Mexico City, places like that, you're dealing with some intense heat.
By the way, we're not going to spend a lot of time. We might get into it in hour number 3. We've got some other stuff South Carolina related we're going to get back into, but Do we need a national soccer stadium? I was watching last night. Azteca is really cool. Now, it's been around from what I understood from, like, again, I was telling you I was learning stuff, putting out tweets last night. And we've got a lot of great soccer cities. Seattle, Los Angeles, Kansas City's really good. Philadelphia, New York. I know there's a few others. But do we need, like, hey, we got to win this match. All right, we're going to Seattle. Because I think it would be Seattle. I think it would be Seattle. But do we need an official, like, home soccer venue?
Maybe. I've never thought about that.
We don't, I mean, because Mexico just played all, I know they're eliminated, just played all theirs in Azteca Stadium. And I kind of want to go to that now. Talk about venues.
Looks rowdy.
Probably not in my top 5, but we'll get back to that top 5 in some Madison Square Garden and the Kelce's, the new Kelce's. We'll introduce the new Kelce's. We're throwing away. So how many of you are going to a watch party tonight? Like that, Terry, are you watching this? Like this has become, and again, and y'all know me, and we've already had one World Cup, although this one's a little bit different. I'm not trying to be political, and that's not where I'm going with this, but I still think 6 years later, we're coming back from COVID a little bit. We're to an extent. And this is the first time, you still got your Super Bowl watch parties. You got stuff that you kind of, but this feels like I know, I think it was Jay and Elijah have gone to British Bulldog Pub.
They did the watch party there for the Aussie game.
And it feels like this is the first time in 6 years that we're back to doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. It's all over the country. Remember, it started to pick up steam here in the last couple years in pockets, but I'm with you. I mean, it's just full-blown. Let's all get together and stand around and breathe each other's breath in or whatever, and let's have a good time, right?
It's also, I'll admit this, and I'm not, look, I probably know soccer better than the majority because Austin played it, and I grew up playing it, but I don't, look, I'm not going to lie. There's the things I don't get.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like 90% of us don't know. We're just like, kick the ball to goal.
Absolutely.
Just what? Just how hard is this? So like you see yesterday, who was it? What was I think it was Holling that kicked it between the guy's legs and it goes into goal. Like just something miraculous. Just something crazy. Yeah. See? See? Do that. How hard is that? Do that. And we're all at watch parties like, yeah. Wait, why was he offside? What is offside again?
It's like, why is offside screw up every fun play in soccer? That's what I've had somebody say to me. It's like, this bleeping offsides, it ruins everything.
Offsides, and then they're fighting, and like, because now, especially now, I'm coming off of hockey where fighting was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody goes to the penalty box.
Yeah, that's it.
You let them fight in soccer.
I'll say there's been a couple games where it looked like last night with Mexico and England. I thought things were going to come to blows at a couple different points. Like you almost half expect it, right?
Yes.
Now, again, it's not proper in soccer to do those kind of things, but like, heck yeah, if somebody wants to throw a punch, I'm here for it.
Here's the problem, though. If you're England, you're outnumbered like 85,000 to your team.
That is a good point.
Because I'm going to tell you now, they're coming out of the stands.
Well, you saw what they were doing to them before the game in the hotel, shooting fireworks. And like, you want to talk about a home field advantage. Mexico had it.
There's a reason why they've lost, 4 out of 90 home games or 3 out of 90 home games or something insane. Guys, you've heard the stories when the U.S. goes there. Those people throw bags of urine.
Yeah.
Not bags of any. No. First of all, you have to collect urine. Then you have to bag it and then throw it. These people are a little intense.
If y'all don't know the story that I think Tyler just brought up, England booked 11 hotels.
Yes.
They booked 11 hotels to try and confuse the Mexican fans. And much like the Utah Jazz got to Michael Jordan, and much like LSU got to Tim Tebow, and what was it, Miami got to the Oklahoma players way back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Mexican fans figured it out.
They found them. And were shooting off fireworks at 2 a.m. Mariachi band out there or whatever.
Oh, yeah, they're having a street party, loud.
Uh-huh.
Dude, and that's why I brought up, do we need a home stadium? Listen, we are fully capable of a country of going, if we need a little help, some training, there's a couple SEC fan bases we can send somewhere for 2 weeks. And they'll train them up on how to be a little, because Mexico last night, I was watching, I was like, they're making a bid to be like an SEC school. They're making a bid. It was something. It's just, I don't know. This is not, and y'all know, a lot of you, I know, you've gotten into soccer, you get into Premier League. This is, and we're watching it in our country, unlike anything we've seen, right?
Right.
Like, we are all fascinated, all of us. If you haven't seen it, then that's why you're not fascinated by the Norwegian row thing.
Oh, it's hilarious. And they're doing it at a Mets game or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, they were doing it at the golf tournament for Victor Hovland when he's taking on Scotty Scheffler a week ago. Like, it has been...
Honestly, it is pretty cool, though.
It is.
It really is.
Well, and I think that's what intrigues us most about these, foreign fan bases, because they do so many things in unity, whether it be rows, chants, celebrations. Like, we don't really have that. We have it a little bit in college sports. You know, you have your towel waving for Sandstorm. You have the swaying at Texas A&M. But, like, generally speaking, American crowds aren't good at doing the same thing together for the most part.
No,
yeah.
That's true. Like the wave.
I was going to say, we peaked with the wave.
Yeah, that's about it.
Because to me...
And that's low-hanging fruit.
Didn't we get to the point where half the stadium... I'm not doing that bleeping wave.
Right.
It's stupid, right?
Yeah.
To Tyler's point.
All the kids were doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we chant, right? Like, like that's what like tonight, if you watch, we're going to chant USA, and we're going to go, and the crowd behind them in Seattle will do the Seven Nations Army.
But you'll hear like an English crowd. They'll key in on one player on the other team, and it'll be a whole song that everybody knows that they just seemingly came up with on the fly.
But Norwegia had the rowing. The Netherlands had the orange bus, and they would all get behind the bus and walk down the street. What was the country last week that had the dude did the full on? Had the guys. I shouldn't say the dude. He had one that stood out, but the full on chain armor, like he was going to fight in the Crusades back in the day.
Yeah,
there was multiple of them. Like we have some. You're like, well, these people are nuts. They paint the top of their head. They look at them. They put shoulder pads on them, and paint the top of their head like a bunch of Georgia Bulldogs. No. These people dress like they're going to war.
Yes.
Like they dress like they are going to 1700s Crusades war.
Yeah, the Scots just show up and drink your beer.
And wear a skirt.
And wear skirts.
Just don't, like... So whatever happens next, and it's on you.
It's wacky from there, right?
I mean, careful there. But, again, but it's fun. And I'll give you an example. Like, with the Norwegian bus thing, if you didn't see that, not Norwegian, the Netherlands bus thing, the Norwegian road thing, as cool as it was, the Japanese coming in and cleaning stadiums.
Yes.
After cleaning Jerry World after their match, because that's their leave things cleaner than you felt. Like, we're all like, no, my peanut shells are on the floor there.
If you miss the trash can with your beer, you don't pick it up.
No.
Like, somebody else will get that.
Yeah.
That's why they pay those other people.
Exactly.
Right?
That's not my job.
I think it's been a lot of fun, but from that standpoint, to see all of this come together, and we got now just less than 2 weeks. Yesterday was the 2-week mark. The World Cup final is the day before SEC Media Day. So I understand Jay is not going this year, so we won't have to worry about trying to get to Tampa in time to see the final, whoever the final is. 803-404-6100. A little World Cup talk. How invested will you be tonight? Like, are you in? Are you like? Is there like a food plan? Is there?
I typically don't eat that late, but no, I'm locked in on that. That'll get my sole focus. I'll probably be doing work while I'm doing it, but yeah, I'll have it on the TV and be locked in as much as I can. I've never had this level of excitement for soccer games before, because again, I've never really had a team to follow. Outside of when like Atlanta United was good for a couple years. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked forward to games like this before.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I understand. I get it. I'm with you there for the unity of everybody coming together. 803-404.
By the way, if Balogun scores a goal tonight, they might have to build a new, well, you can't call it its official name, Seattle Field or whatever we're supposed to call it. Yeah, it's not allowed to be Lumen Field.
It'll be a lot of fun, and it would be fun to see, again, coming up right after our show today, 3 o'clock, Portugal and Spain. Spain the favorite in that. Portugal with Ronaldo, and this would be, if he were to lose today, would be his last World Cup, I assume. Neymar yesterday, after their loss, announcing that was his last World Cup. You've had a couple others. There was another player that I didn't recognize for another big name, Croatia, that announced it was his big name team that he was retiring. So it's been really cool all the way around. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this afternoon. I tell you what, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. We'll get back into the recruiting. Let you listen to some clips from last week. South Carolina picking up a couple different football commitments. But what does it mean? What does it mean in 2026 when you land these football commitments, especially highly rated ones? Are you excited? Are you not excited? How do you feel? We'll talk about that. You're listening to the Halftime Show. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. You heard me talking a little while ago about the heat that we've been going through. Boy, I hope you listened to me earlier and went and contacted AAA Heating and Air and took advantage of all their great ideas and thoughts to help get you a brand new heating and air unit, such as guaranteed financing. You don't have to worry about getting financing. AAA Heating and Air will make sure it's taken care of. A 15-year parts and labor guarantee, so you know that heating and air unit will continue to work. And, of course, no payments or interest for 12 months. I hope you called, but if you didn't, there's still time to do it. You can get in touch with them via the web. Call AAAtoday.com. That's the website. Check them out there. Call AAAtoday.com. You want to tell them, Bill Gunner, well, 107.5 The Game sent you. Let me tell you, it is still going to be a hot summer. You want air conditioning. AAA Heating and Air is the family to go to. Call AAAtoday.com. It is 2:15 on a Monday here, July the 6th, fresh off of the July 4th week. I don't know. What do you think, Tyler? Most people. Do you take the week after the July 4th off, or do you take the week of July 4th off? What do you think is better?
I guess the week after, because then you start your holiday sooner.
Okay.
Because you would have Friday off. I think depending on the calendar falls. Probably the week after. If you don't have enough vacation days, I guess you do it the week of, because then the 4th wouldn't count against your day total or whatever. But I'd say probably the week after, because you started earlier.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Plus, it just feels like it's more relaxing if you do that. Like, hey, let's be honest, there ain't a whole lot going on the week of the week of the week of the 4th. You can kind of cruise through work, and then next thing you know, it's here. Now, either you're back to work and back on schedule like we are, or you're taking some time off and enjoying the beach and whatever else, maybe the lake, whatever it is. You like to maybe get away from the heat and the mountains, because we got about 2 weeks. And then SEC Media Days will be here. And that is kind of the official kickoff there. We'll get everything going. That'll be followed by a Shane Beamer press conference the following week. Normally the golf tournament, his golf tournament out at, is it still Cobblestone? I'm blanking on where. Yeah, still Cobblestone. It'll be out there, and then we'll go right into practice. So as I said earlier, 2 weeks from today, SEC Media Day. 4 weeks from today, they should be practicing. 8 weeks from today, Tyler and I will be sitting here starting to preview game week. It will officially be game week, so it'll be here before you know it. 803-404-6100. Over the weekend, though, they were building for the future. And let's just run right through them, Terry, 1 through 3. Go right on through them. Here is what occurred on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
The next 3 years, when I'm 3 and out, I'm taking my titles too.
For the next 3 to 4 years, I'll be going to University of South Carolina.
And lastly, I want to thank all my friends and my family for coming out there supporting me. And without y'all, I don't know where I'd be today. Without that being said, this is my company. 4 years, I've been taking my talents to University of South Carolina.
Did all three? I haven't paid attention. I haven't done recruiting in a while. By the way, Anna Adams with 24/7 Sports put this out. I don't know if you two saw this. I've covered a lot of recruiting in my day. I've done some stuff to get the commitment story. All right? I'm not going to lie. I've done some shady stuff to get the story, working for Shannon Terry and some of the, when he was at 24/7 Sports. Like, it was get the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay? And I recruiting is trust me, folks, I can't start to sit here and explain it. We don't have enough time. I don't know if y'all saw this. Joshua Dobson had a mocktail bar.
I didn't see this.
No, I did not see this.
Anna Adams put out on Twitter the mocktail bar that was at Joshua Dobson's commitment. Now, we didn't play Joshua Dobson there. Dobson was on Wednesday night, and we didn't play his. Let me see. I'm going to go back and pull this up real quick and read you the beverage. He had a list of beverages. By the way, they sound pretty good. Mocktails, mind you. But I had never seen. All right, here we go. So this is from Joshua Dobson's. It was the Smooth Mocktail Bar. All right. The first drink is the Island, a tropical fusion of mango, coconut, and passion fruit. Island vibes in every sip. Okay.
All right. Sure.
Drink number 2. The shutdown sip.
Okay.
The shutdown sip. A citrus blend of orange, strawberry, lime, smooth, sharp, and unstoppable.
That could be dangerous if mixed with other things.
All right.
Yes.
The next one is the J Smooth. All right. It is a blend of pineapple, lime, blueberry with a smooth, I'm reading it straight off of the chart, a smooth fusion.
All right.
Okay.
The final one is DB Juice.
Okay. I'm not a fan of that one already. Keep going.
A bold mix of mixed berries and lemonade, refreshing, smooth, and game ready. I have covered a lot of stuff. I have never seen a mocktail bar.
You never saw a mocktail bar?
Like, is this, who's pouring this? Is this like a restaurant? Is this, okay. That seems like a collaboration with somebody, right? Like, that's not something you're just like, I don't know, your mom's not pouring that, right? And how long was this ceremony to, because I only tuned in for the part where he committed, like, to justify having this?
Look, here's what I'm going to say, because it didn't dawn on me until literally right now as I go into the segment about the recruiting. I may have to reach out to Anna and just see what happened there. We may have to get Anna on, and just because, folks, I've seen animals.
I was going to say, what's the craziest thing you've seen?
What is the craziest thing that I have seen? LJ Peak and Shaq Davidson together was, I mean, just, I don't know if it was disrespectful.
Really?
It was, I don't know if you remember those names. Both were from Gaffney. Both were good friends. Shaq Davidson was a football wide receiver. Unfortunately, tore his ACL and just never got to be the player that he was going to be, but he was a big-time wide receiver out of Gaffney. LJ Peak was his buddy. And LJ Peak was a 4-star basketball prospect. Everybody wanted him. And South Carolina thought they made a run very late. And so I think it's actually Wes Mitchell and I are up there working together, interviewing everybody, and we're getting ready. Well, they do the announcement. This is also when I was doing basketball scouting, by the way, to give you some background on something else that happened here. Shaq Davidson picked South Carolina. Well, these are best buddies. They're holding their announcement at the same time. Mm-hmm. Both of them have South Carolina hats on it. It is widely assumed that if Shaq Davidson, which was assumed he was going to pick South Carolina, that he had picked that LJ, that this is why they were doing this together, to kind of collaborate and build up South Carolina. LJ Peak picks up the Carolina hat, puts it on, and waits about 15 seconds, takes it off, and I mean chunks it across the room and picks up a Georgetown hat.
Oh.
And most commitments we've been to, you generally have, and I did not, there's been some that you kind of last minute aren't real sure. But this is how shocking it was. I got a phone call 10 minutes afterwards from a Georgetown coach going, did he really pick us? Georgetown didn't know they were even really in the running. It was assumed that he would either go to South Carolina or Florida State. I ended up at Georgetown. I had an okay career. Corey Robinson calling, former offensive tackle, calling Brad Lawing in kind of like we're there, but he's on the phone, and he just says, "Well, I'm committed, coach. I'm coming," and then hangs up the phone, and everybody's like, "Well, who'd you commit to? What coach?" Because he just starts talking like, "Yep, I'm committed," and we're all like, "To whom? That's awesome." I've never seen a mocktail bar, though.
Mocktails.
That's a first.
Mocktails.
Never seen it. A.J. Can, who I think Nate Carson is a lot like, that was the second voice you heard from Irmo High School. And I think that's a big pickup, guys. I really like that pickup. I think he can play multiple positions. For those of you who remember A.J. was about 6'3". In high school, he was about 6'3", 300, 290. He ended up, when he got to the NFL, at 6'3", 320. Carson, 6'4", 290, projects better as an interior player, a guard, but can play tackle, can play center. By all accounts, is a very smart offensive lineman, which should fit well in Kendall Briles' system and go well with Randy Clements. This was one you'd already missed out on. Jaden Bryant from Irmo. This was a big one you needed to have, and South Carolina's got to continue to build up that offensive line and get good players in so that Randy Clements can coach them up. Look, I get it. Offensive line is a position that is very developmental, and just because they're a 5-star doesn't mean they're going to be elite. Just because they're a 2-star doesn't mean they're going to be a project.
Sure.
But guys like this, you've got to land, and I expect him to come in and be part of that offensive line quickly and for at least 3 years there. I guess you could say at least 3 to up to 5 now, given that they have 5.
That's also the new thing that everybody does now is for the next 3 to 4 years.
Well,
planning on playing.
Some of them are saying for
South
the next
Carolina.
year. But did y'all notice all 3, by the way, said I'm taking my talents to? Like all 3 hit them with that line.
The LeBron effect,
The
man.
LeBron thing, man.
That was 16 years ago, and we're still using that.
Wait, that's a lot. But overall for South Carolina, here's the big question. Do you get into it as much as you used to? Are you as into it as you used to? And if you are, how do you feel when you get this commitment? Because again, it's not that back in the day teams used to stop recruiting players, but in this day and age now, we know what NIL means. And by the way, I don't know if y'all are aware of this. I read that article. We haven't talked about it today. How much has changed in the 5 years of NIL?
Mm-hmm.
July 1st was the 5-year anniversary of the beginning of NIL.
Right.
Do you know at that time, and I remember the numbers are not always official and everything, at that time who was considered the football? Do you know who was considered do you know who was considered the NIL? I'm going to kind of give it away when I say queen, but the top NIL earner at that time.
In July of 2021. No, actually, I can't think of who that would be.
She's got a very popular, I think husband, maybe still boyfriend, that's a baseball pitcher.
Oh, Livy Dunn.
Yes.
Okay.
She was considered the top.
Yep.
She was actually followed by the Cavender twins, who at that time were at Fresno State.
Yep.
The top football earner, making a whopping, folks, and this was the Athletic article I read, the highest football earner that was considered to be the highest football earner, the football NIL king was De'Aaron King.
Oh, he was at Houston, right?
He was. Past tense.
Where did he transfer
Went
to?
elsewhere to get his money. The U.
Ah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Went
Man.
to the U. $20,000.
I still need,
20,000 was the number that was given on, and he at that time was considered the NIL king.
you sent me the article. I need to read it. We can dive into it more tomorrow because I have a lot of thoughts on what I thought it was going to be compared to what it is to now. 5 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What a world of difference.
That is the change on July 1st of 2021. The top earner was Livy Dunn, was expected to be Livy Dunn. The next 2 were the Cavender twins, but the football NIL king who was expected to make the most was just $20,000, and it was De'Aaron King at Miami.
What does that buy you now? That buy you a snap for an offensive lineman?
I don't know what it buy. That's a great question.
1 start, maybe?
I don't know, but there's an article on The Athletic. You can read it there, and it does talk about the evolution of NIL and where it started, and basically how they, not so much how they thought they could rein it in, but where it was and how they thought it was in place to where it has grown now. And I believe the number in there, I don't have the article up on my computer. I think I read it on my phone. The average college team now's roster is $37.8 million. That's the average.
Oof.
And De'Aaron King 5 years ago led the way at $20,000.
Remember De'Aaron King? That was like a big recruiting battle. Remember that?
Yep. All right. We'll come back, get into another topic. You're listening to The Halftime Show. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on what I'm about to bring up. How would you two feel? Now, The Athletic is doing a series on college football in the 90s. You brought this up not too long ago with the Lou Holtz in South Carolina. How would everybody feel if we brought back the tie in college football?
I wouldn't be a fan of it.
Okay.
Personally.
Terry?
Yeah, I don't want no ties. I'm kissing my sister, man.
College football. It's produced some great moments. It's produced villains. Notre Dame and Michigan State back in the 60s.
Oh, God, that 10-10 thing or something I read about.
Where Notre Dame intentionally wasn't trying to win the game, right?
Yep. It's produced villains. It's produced heroes even in a loss. Tom Osborne and the Orange Bowl.
Yep. But tell the truth. You have more respect for Tom Osborne going for it and going for the win.
That's why he's a hero.
Mm-hmm.
The Athletic's got an article on it, and I read it twice last night. And it's kind of interesting because of the evolution of college football now with where we're at.
Sure.
And what these games mean and strength of schedule, so forth and so on. Y'all know everything that's going on. You get into these games, and are we really deciding these games? And this is what we're doing, but I meant, I'm being facetious. Are we really deciding these games by a 2-point play now at the end? Is that better than a tie? Because you get a winner. Is that it?
Well, while I don't agree with the necessary format that we've gotten to, because I think they've really screwed up overtime, I will take that over a no contest draw.
Why?
Because we have a definitive winner. Because here's the thing. I can understand where you're coming from of like, hey, back then it produced some crazy moments. It produced heroes and villains and all that kind of stuff because you didn't know how good it could be by having overtime. It's kind of like the classic toothpaste out of the tube, right? Once you get overtime in, 1996, I believe, you've squeezed the toothpaste out of the tube. You can't put it back now because now, if you take it away, we've lived the past 30 years, my entire life, having overtime and having definitive winners in college football. You take that away and we start having ties now, nobody's going to like it.
Yeah, I can't do ties, man.
You can say to yourself, oh, I would love to see that come back until you start experiencing it. Then I'm not satisfied with not having a definitive winner now.
Ohio State President Gordon Gee told the Associated Press back in 1992, Michigan was playing Ohio State. Ohio State tied Michigan that year. Gordon Gee said the tie is one of our greatest wins ever.
See, I hate that.
Well, Gordon Gee's kind of a goof, and
he is. But I say, I say this because in this day and age, do you want something a little extra to play for? Kind of, I mean, in our era, we want to define cowards and heroes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's what makes Tom Osborne's career obviously was great. They won championships and did all kinds of things, and they were phenomenal. But is Tom Osborne better remembered for risking it all going for two than playing for the tie?
To be fair, I think he is known for that as much as winning national championships. He had the stones to go for it instead of going for the tie, yeah.
Because they would have won the championship probably.
Mm-hmm.
They probably won the championship.
They had everything to lose.
And obviously they didn't get it. And Miami, I think, was that the year Miami jumped from 5 to 1?
4 to 1.
4 to 1. Auburn was undefeated. No, Auburn had lost one game, and should have been there. But yeah, I've thought about this. I'm not in favor of bringing it back, but I'm interested to hear if somebody can persuade me that ties should be brought back into the game. I remember South Carolina tied LSU. I think it was 20-20 in about 94, 95 up at Williams-Brice Stadium.
Uh-huh.
And that's the last tie I can remember for South Carolina. But, yeah, I'm interested because it does open up to me kind of who are you, what kind of coach are you playing at the end of the ball game?
Let me ask you this question. We debate so much now because we're in a playoffized college football era. How would the committee handle ties? We can't trust them enough to handle wins and losses. How would they handle a third criteria?
That's a good question. The Athletic brings it up. and they talk about it. But their point is it says a real chance the playoff could double in size to 24, lengthening. Now, this is part of it. It says lengthen the season for still teams with an expanded playoff. But it goes on to say, imagine Ohio State and Texas playing to a tie in week 2 this season. It could be a vexing piece of information for the CFP selection committee to consider, but ultimately, not a huge issue. It's 24 teams. We now have a postseason to sort things out as opposed to narrowing it down to, I would say 1 versus 2, but we know how the Big Ten Pac-12 was versus everybody else. Mm-hmm. But instead of 1 versus 2, you got a whole postseason that you can work it out.
I can't do ties, man. I can't. I'm with Tyler. The 2-point conversion thing is asinine.
Yes.
It really
I'm with you.
So I'd like to see them do something about that, but I can't take a tie.
See, I've always thought, because again, you do the thing now where you start at the 25-yard line, you alternate possessions, then after the second overtime, you get in the 2-point shootout. I've always thought we should back it up to like the 40-ish yard line to where you're not in guaranteed field goal range. I think that would get these games over quicker. And yeah, you'll see the chaos every now and then of the 2-point shootout, but I don't think you get to that point quite as frequently if you took them out of field goal range.
Okay,
start with.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask both of y'all this. Will you go with ties if we take the NFL model? We're going to play 15 extra minutes. If you kick a field goal, the other team gets the ball. If you score a touchdown, the game's over. Essentially, the first team. Y'all know how that plays out without me explaining the whole thing. But if you play 15 minutes, a whole other quarter, now you've played 75 full minutes.
I'll go with that.
Are you okay? Are we okay with ties now?
If you go the NFL model, I can live with that because you tried to have someone win the game and they felt obviously soiled all over themselves and couldn't win, right? In one way, shape, or form. Bill, I would go with that if you got the NFL model, the full 15 minutes. Yeah, I go.
Tyler's thinking very hard over here.
Yeah, I think NFL overtime's kind of lame. So I wouldn't want to change that model because at least you have a way to get a definitive winner no matter what in college football. So as much as I don't like the 2-point shootout, I think I would prefer that over the NFL model.
But I will say this about the NFL model is like for me, and now everybody gets the ball. Remember, there was a way in the NFL that you could not get the ball.
Oh yeah.
If the first team won the coin toss. Now again, both teams are getting the ball, and you come up with a model like that. I don't think you get to a tie if you do it correctly. I just don't. But if you would, after a full period of overtime, I will suck it up and take a tie then. But I would like to see something improved on the 2-point thing, like Tyler
I do too,
said.
yeah.
Or how about this? You start at the 40 and you can't kick field goals.
Yeah, something like that. Can't kick field goals, can't kick extra points, got to go for 2 every single time. Something. Because here's the thing. It was an overreaction to that 7 overtime game that LSU and AM played. Mm-hmm. That was such an exception to the rule. They're like, oh, we got to change this. No, you don't, because it rarely ever happens. But here we are with this mess of 2-point shootouts now.
That is the next big thing you watch is going to come down in college football is how they handle this. Because if we're talking about going to a longer season and shortening and they want to, I don't want to say shorten the game. That's not fair. But, yeah, you're right. And this 2-point conversion, nobody likes it. Nobody likes the way it plays out. You mentioned it, the 7 overtime, 146-point total. LSU, Texas A&M Marathon in 2018. But I'm not sure. I'm not okay going back to the era of ties. I like on our text line. No, unfortunately, I was 4. I don't remember this. But Thomas says, why would you even ask that question? As a lifelong Gamecock fan, just go back to 86 with our wonderful kicker. I'm just going to say his name and not add the nickname you gave him. But Scott Hagler and those disgusting ties. Well, that's true. I have to go back and look at those years and see what exactly led to them. We'll come back, wrap up the show, talk a little more soccer for you. It's the halftime show.
I just found out on the way over here just from the guys. Obviously, for us, it gives us a boost. We're really excited. He's been so good for us this tournament, so to have him for tomorrow is obviously really exciting for us.
How does it change things on the field for you when he's out there with you?
Well, I mean, obviously we've played with him all tournament, so I mean, it changes as far as like just having him as a presence out there. He does so much. He runs off the ball. He always gives an option. He's constantly a threat and behind and to score, and obviously as a team, it's really helpful.
Those are the words of Christian Pulisic as he gears up for tonight's game. I guess he's close to. It's funny how we've stopped talking about him because he's been dealing with the calf injury that he sustained prior to the tournament, and now all of a sudden he's kind of an afterthought. I like that somebody on Twitter, one of the random Twitter accounts I see, put out something and said a player that 2 weeks ago nobody really knew about except major soccer fans is now one of the most important people in America.
That's right. That's how we do the World Cup, man. It's a sport that largely a lot of us care about for 4 to 5 weeks at a time every 4 years. Because again, it's not disrespectful to soccer, but it's just not as high on the list of sports that we naturally consume compared to football, baseball, and basketball. But man, when we're in, we're in. And yes, Flo Balogun has become the most important athlete in all of America over the course of the past couple of days.
Well, and I'll say this: I already saw the debates starting to rage. Will this prompt U.S. soccer to take another step forward? Yes, it will. Will it make it a national pastime, a national sport? No.
No, it won't.
No, it won't.
I've seen, I forget his name, the president of Major League Soccer, talked about, okay, we're going to take it from here, capitalizing on the momentum. I understand where they're coming from here. I don't think it suddenly makes MLS like that much more popular compared to football, baseball, basketball, and stuff like that. It can give it a little bit of an uptick. Maybe there's some players that you've been watching in the World Cup like, oh, I want to see who that guy plays for in MLS, and maybe you follow it that way. But I don't think this completely shifts the popularity of soccer. I think it's very much within this bubble of it being the World Cup that is just kind of contained to this month to 2 month stretch.
Well, and again, I think, and again, not trying to go down a political path, but I think as a country, when we got something like the Olympics, like the hockey team, a lot of us Southerners, we don't understand hockey, but when you can get a national team to make a run and unify everybody, all of a sudden, what happens is we come together for a sport. It might be curling,
sure.
It might be ice skating, it might be something, but we all come together, and that I think is what is happening. That is what is truly happening. The sport is nice, but we're rallying for America, and that's what's really, really cool. And obviously, doing it at this time of the year, the World Cup's played this time of year, with the exception of 2022 when they were at Qatar, and apparently it was too hot. Qatar's probably looking at us right now going, have y'all seen your temperatures?
Sure.
I know it gets hotter over there.
Having it in December right before Christmas in the midst of football going on was very weird.
Yeah, it was enjoyable, but you're right. Very, very odd. But it'll be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun tonight. That game again in Seattle. And I'll say this because I've asked a couple times, should we have like a true home stadium? And you talk about the top 5 venues in sports that you would want to go see a game, and that's because of age, that's because of environment, just because of atmosphere, so many different things. I don't know if whatever the Seattle football stadium,
Lumen Field,
beautiful,
or Seattle Field, as I guess we got to call it,
whatever it is. I know it's loud. I know it's an incredible football environment. I don't know if it would be on my top 5, but again, it sounds like to me, from what I've kind of read, if we were to say, all right, we have a true home game, we gotta win this one, gotta play. And I don't know if the World Cup, I don't know how that really gets decided. It feels like Seattle should be the place. Seattle or Kansas City.
In terms of like the rowdiness of the crowd, yeah. If you're thinking about like a location that's more significant to America, I think you'd probably look at New York/New Jersey.
Maybe Philadelphia if you want to go.
Or Philly or DC or something. I think you got to go with. I
think you got to go with the soccer city, and that would be, from what I'm reading, either KC or Seattle. Go with Kansas City or Seattle. Both are apparently wildly soccer enthusiast cities. So we'll see. We'll talk about it tomorrow. J.C. Sherbert will join us tomorrow as well. We'll talk about the recruiting that took place, and who knows, maybe we'll get back into some hot dog eating contests. We had one of our own a few weeks ago. Maybe we'll evaluate Joey Chestnut versus Dave. How's that? Y'all have a good day. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. You've heard me talk about him, and shoot, you need to be paying attention after this storm we just had. Some of the thunderstorms, the wind, the potential hail. I didn't see any around here, but that we might have just had. You need to make sure that that roof does not have a leak on it. Doesn't matter whether it's your home or your business, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter whether you're here in Columbia, Greenville, Charleston, Myrtle Beach. It doesn't matter where. Number one, Mid-State Roofing is there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take care of your home.